Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, channel your inner financial detectives today because we're tackling a very specific and, let's be real, sometimes super frustrating corner of healthcare revenue cycle management. We're talking third-party liability denials. If you've ever stared at a claim that got rejected simply because someone else was supposed to foot the bill, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Today, we're going to solve the mystery behind these denials, focusing specifically on claim adjustment reason codes 19, 20, and 21. So get ready to crack the case.
Here's our syllabus for today's training module. We'll quickly cover what third-party liability actually is, the root causes of these denials, our pre-call verification checklist, the resolution decision tree, a standard AR caller note, and finally, a quick knowledge check. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. What is third-party liability?
First up, let's define exactly what we're dealing with when a medical claim bounces back to us for a liability reason. The crucial point here is that someone else is legally on the hook for the bill, and our job as AR professionals is to find out exactly who that is. Think of it like this. Standard medical insurance is designed for illnesses and general health maintenance, right? But if a patient breaks their leg on the job or maybe gets severe whiplash at a stoplight, the primary health insurance steps back. They basically say, hey, this is a work comp or auto liability issue. So the financial responsibility shifts entirely to a third party.
When that shift happens, the payer communicates it to us through specific claim adjustment reason codes, or CARCs. These three codes are the primary suspects you're going to see on your denial reports. PR19 is your classic on-the-job injury, pointing straight to workers' comp. PR20 usually pops up for general liability, like think of a slip and fall at a grocery store. And PR21 indicates a no-fault carrier is involved, which is super typical in certain auto accident states. Memorize these three guys because they are literally the starting point for your entire investigation.
Moving right along to Section 2, root causes of TPL denials.
Why do these codes trigger in our systems in the first place? Well, denials don't just happen out of thin air. They're usually caused by a breakdown in information. It generally stems from a simple mix-up or missing info at the front desk. You know, in the rush of a busy patient visit, standard medical insurance might just get billed by default instead of the proper injury carrier. Or maybe the patient themselves provided incorrect coordination of benefits details. Even worse, the front desk might have collected all the right info, but those vital accident indicators were accidentally left blank on the claim form. To fix this, we've got to bridge the gap between that error state and the ideal state, where accurate injury details actually dictate where the bill goes.
All right, Section 3, Pre-Call Verification Checklist.
Before we even think about picking up the phone to call a payer or a patient, a good detective reviews the existing evidence. Remember, calling should be our absolute final option, not our first reflex. Looking at the standard CMS 1500 form, Block 10 is your absolute best friend here. It literally asks if the condition is related to employment, an auto accident, or another accident. If those boxes are checked yes, boom, you have your motive. Then just drop your eyes down to Block 19. This is the additional claim information field where billers often leave crucial free text notes, like a lawyer's name or a brief accident description.
But beyond the claim form itself, you've got to conduct a really thorough chart review. Dig deep into the billing system. First off, do you see a long, distinct injury claim number sitting right where a normal subscriber ID should be? That is a massive clue. Second, comb through those account notes. Are there any mentions of an attorney calling in? And third, spot the pattern. If the patient has been coming in for physical therapy for the exact same diagnosis code for 3 weeks, check how those previous dates of service were paid. Because if a workers' comp carrier paid last week, they probably owe for this week too.
Okay, Section 4, Resolution Decision Tree.
Once you've gathered your clues, it's time to actually take action. Our standard workflow for work comp and auto-related denials is your trusty roadmap. It guides you logically based on the evidence you just collected. It asks simple yes or no questions. Do you have a claim number? Was it submitted to the correct payer? Let's break down the 3 main scenarios you're definitely going to encounter based on this tree.
Scenario 1 is the dream. This is when your detective work totally pays off and you find the golden ticket. The actual liability information is already hiding right there in the system. Your job here is super simple. Update the billing system so it points to the correct liability carrier. Make sure that claim number is front and center. Drop a nice clear note in Block 19, and then resubmit the claim. Oh, and a pro tip for you. Always attach the medical records on these resubmissions because liability carriers almost always want to see the clinical proof of the injury.
Scenario 2 is a bit of a mix-up. Sometimes you have all the right injury info, but the billing system just routed it to the patient's primary medical insurance by accident. If that's what happened, just redirect the claim to the right liability carrier.
Alternatively, sometimes standard medical care gets falsely flagged as an injury. If your chart review proves the patient was just in for, say, a standard stomachache, you need to contact the medical payer, clarify that it's purely medical and not related to an accident whatsoever, and ask them to reprocess the claim.
And then we have scenario 3. The trail goes completely cold. You've checked the 1500 form, you've scoured the chart notes, and there is absolutely zero injury information available. When this happens, you can't magically invent a liability carrier. You've got to reach out to the source. You will need to contact the patient directly to collect their workers' comp or auto insurance details. Or, if your specific facility rules don't allow for patient contact, you'll need to escalate the account for client review.
Section 5. Standard AR Caller Note.
Once you have successfully solved the case, your job still isn't quite done. You must document your findings perfectly using a standard template in your billing system. Why is this so incredibly critical? Because a clean, uniform note ensures that if another AR associate, or maybe an auditor, opens this account 3 months from now, they can understand exactly what happened in about 10 seconds flat. Document the date of service, the exact PR denial code, the actions you took like checking block 10, and your final resolution. And always include your call reference number if you spoke to a representative.
Let's wrap things up with Section 6. Knowledge Check.
Let's test your skills and lock in what we've just learned today. Question 1. Which claim adjustment reason code indicates that the claim is a work-related injury in the liability of the workers' compensation carrier? Is it A, PR20, B, PR21, or C, PR19? Think back to our suspect lineup at the beginning of the explainer. Which specific code points directly to an on-the-job injury in workers' comp? Lock in your answer.
All right, question 2. During your pre-call review on a CMS 1500 form, which block should you check to see if the patient's condition is related to an employment, auto, or other accident? A, block 10, B, block 19, or C, block 23? Thinking back to that form, we talked about 2 crucial blocks, but which one is specifically the yes or no checkbox area for accidents? And finally, question 3. According to the resolution workflow, what is the correct action if you are working a PR20 denial and there is absolutely no injury or litigation information available in the system? A, write off the balance immediately. B, contact the patient directly or escalate to client review. Or C, bill the patient's secondary medical insurance. If the trail is completely cold internally, who holds the missing piece of the puzzle to get this claim paid?
Here are the answers. Number 1 is C, PR19, number 2 is A, block 10, and number 3 is B, you must contact the patient or escalate. So how did you do? Remember, billions of dollars are delayed every single year because of missing TPL details. How many golden tickets are hiding in your aging reports right now just waiting for a good detective? Share and subscribe for free courses on Decode Healthcare with Harshal.